Just wait for a few more people to join. Okay, hello and welcome back to another session of yoga with Fertility Network. My name is Emily and I'll just go through our usual disclaimers before I hand over to our instructor Annie. Please remember that when practicing yoga online, it's up to the individual to assess whether they are ready for these techniques. In this case, fertility yoga. If you suffer from specific injuries or disease, it's best to consult with your doctor first. Practice of yoga requires you to gauge the safety of your practice within your own personal physical limitations. It is better to build up slowly rather than to force and strain. While you may feel exertion, you should also feel relaxed. Techniques and suggestions presented in this webinar are not intended to substitute for proper medical advice, and you should always consult your doctor before starting any new exercise program. Both Fertility Network UK and Annie Perry assume no responsibility for any injuries suffered while practicing these techniques, but again, I'm sure that won't happen. So just before I pass over to Annie, I'll just say if you have any good feedback for us, we always love to hear it, so do let us know on social media or get in touch anytime. Okay, thank you very much. Hand over to you, Annie.
Thanks, Emily. Hi, everyone. Hope everyone is okay. We will do a nice wee practice on releasing worries and strains. I just need to. Something's popped up like a reminder. You know when you get like a calendar reminder and it's like in the middle of my screen. There we go. So before I just launch in to tell us what we're doing tonight, I'll just say welcome to anyone who's joining us for the first time. I'm aware that we have new ladies every single week, so I always like to say welcome. And if you're feeling nervous, which a lot of people seem to say when they start yoga for the first time, then please do not feel nervous at all. This is really a time for you to carve out an hour just for complete self-care, really. Not worry about how good you are at the postures, because yoga isn't about that, and just to really listen to your body, okay? So as I always say, we have adaptations for you if you're in the first half of your cycle leading up to ovulation, and adaptations for after ovulation into menstruation, adaptations for if you are actively bleeding and you're menstruating at the moment. So we really take it easy if we are, okay? Adaptations if you're on stimulation drugs, nothing really to worry about there. The only adaptations I like to do if you're on stims is just often you get bloated and a wee bit sore. So all I'm trying to do is alleviate discomfort, so make sure you don't have that. The other thing is if you are 40 hours post-retrieval or post-transfer, then no physical yoga for you tonight, I'm afraid. I know sometimes it's tempting just to go ahead, but I think 40 hours of rest, you can do the breathing, you can do the relaxation, okay? So I think I've covered everything. I was just saying to Emily, I've been working in my garden all day with a wheelbarrow, so Andy, who's new at yoga, will probably be better than me tonight, because I'm just thinking about doing a down dog, and honestly my arms are agony, so don't copy me. I'm only joking, it'll be fine. Right, so I like to do little themes round classes, nothing too deep or anything, nothing too complicated, but sometimes I like to choose a little mantra to see us through our class, okay? So the one we're doing tonight is, I release worries and strains that put pressure on my mind and body, okay? So we're looking to really reduce stress tonight, and we're looking to really clear the mind tonight, and we're just going to really keep harking back to that little mantra, okay? So I've got a really nice little technique to start with. It's like a whiteboard visualization. So it's really nice just to start us off on the right foot, just get out there what is playing on our minds a lot, anything that's worrying us. It doesn't have to be fertility related at all. It could be job or, I don't know, COVID or anything like that. We're going to try and get it all out there, release it a little bit. And as we move through the practice, we're really going to try and focus our attention on the physical practice, so how things are feeling in the body and the breath, okay? So quite simple, but should hopefully really work for us tonight, okay? So We'll do a 3-part breath. We'll do this breath, we'll guide you through the breath, the 3-part breath, which is like nourishing into the womb space, nourishing into lovely big volume lung breaths and up to the top of the lungs. And then after we've settled down into our 3-part breath, we'll do this little visualization practice to start us off. Okay, does that sound okay? So let's move into constructive rest position. And if you don't know what that is, I'll remind you. So it is where we have our knees bent and our feet placed on the floor, okay? We're then going to I'm going to just check everyone's okay, because I usually get a wee question or a comment at the start. I think this is the first week we've never had one. No, these are all here. Just nobody's got a question this week, so that's good. Okay, I just had this notion before I sat down that I might have just been talking to myself for like, do you know what I mean, for 5 minutes, but I'm not. Okay, constructive rest position. All right, so feet slightly like hip width apart. Bring your hands behind, and we're not just flopping ourselves onto the floor. We're going to place the bottom part of our spine on the floor. I like to really uncurl the spine and roll it down. I'm a bit high up my mat. I want to be so that I'm using the full length. Then place your sacrum on the mat. The sacrum's like that bone at the back of the pelvis. Then come down onto your elbows. Let the pelvis sort of release down onto the floor. Okay, then we'll come off our elbows and we'll bring our hands down by our side for now. Place the head on the floor, and just often our shoulders are a bit naughty and they want to be quite far up, so we're just going to bring them down. And then I always find when I come into this position from here, my feet are a little bit too far away. So I'm just going to step them back, but not so that we're really tucking them in towards the bum. This whole posture is really designed to release the psoas muscle, to release into the pelvis. So you want to feel the pelvis is nice and relaxed. Then hands come on to your womb space, okay? So if you can, have your hands on your womb space, but equally the elbow is resting on the floor so that there's no tension at all. Okay, tuck your chin down ever so slightly. And if you can, close your eyes. Okay, now we begin the process of directing the breath through the body, okay? So it's a 3-part breath, like I said. So the first place we focus the breath and send the breath is into the belly. So we're trying to do a deep belly breath, okay? So we want to feel the hands begin to rise and fall on the belly. How does that feel? Is it quite difficult for you to do? I'm just sitting up so I can talk to you a little better. You know, we want to be, this is where we are turning within. This is where we use yoga to tune into the body. So by breathing into the womb space, does it feel like that's difficult to do? Does it feel like, you know, a deep belly breath feels quite easy for you? There's no right or wrong here, but sometimes the breath can just signal little bits of tension or discomfort. Are you feeling pain in that area today? Again, there's no right or wrong at all. It's just breathing deep into the belly. And if you can, asking, you know, using the breath in the belly so that the hands rise and fall a little more, really, really nourishing into this area. So we're using the breath to nourish the first and second chakras. So the chakras are energy centers in the body. So when we're breathing like this, there should be a kind of rise and fall of the pelvic floor. Nothing, we're not squeezing it, but by working with the breath here, that's going to happen. Plus, we're nourishing into the sacral chakra, which is really, really key in fertility yoga. And you want to notice anything. So any emotions bubbling up, tensions, pain, and if it's something that you feel needs released, then release it on your exhales, okay? So we're looking for about equal inhale to exhale, okay? And then we're going to move our hands up, okay? So we're moving them up to the middle ribs. So you want your hands, so find your solar plexus, that kind of fleshy part at the bottom, at the sort of the top of the abdomen, and just cup your hands round the ribs, okay? So here we're really looking to expand the rib cage, side to side, forward to back. Inhale, create space. Exhale, releases toxins, tension, and emotion. How's this feeling for you? Is this quite difficult? It often is quite difficult, because when we kind of cut about our day, we do tend to breathe high up. We don't use our full lung capacity. We're not kind of designed to do that anyway, but it is nice to really work to increase the lung capacity and send the breath right down into the bottom of the lungs. Perhaps your exhales can be quite strong here, right? Trying to release old air from the lungs. Okay, then we're going to bring the hands up and rest them so that the fingers are pointing up. Just find your collarbones and bring your hands just underneath. Okay, this is a key one here because we're nourishing your heart center, okay? So we're going to be inhaling and really inflating the top of the lungs. So we want to sort of notice, is there any like tightness there or little anxieties there? Again, all this noticing what's going on in the body is without judgment, okay? This is not a fitness class where there's right or wrong answers and there's, striving for a particular physical sensation or anything. This is you getting to know exactly what's going on in your body. So breathing into the heart center in yogic philosophy, really, we believe that it helps to make space around any anxiety or sadness that might be lodged there, okay? So we're almost clearing here, okay? And then we want to you can keep the hands there if you want, you don't have to, but then you want to sort of visualize the breath moving up. So you're kind of breathing and inhale into the throat, out through the top of the head. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Okay, and for this, we're kind of looking to be clearing the mind, but that's okay if it doesn't feel like it's clearing because we're going to be doing this little visualization. Okay, so now try and breathe as if you're connecting all those areas, okay? They don't need to be super long breaths, just a kind of smooth breath that goes from the pelvic floor. Inhale all the way up, belly, upper belly, chest all the way to the crown of the head, and exhale back down in a kind of like a smooth motion. Inhale up, exhale down, okay? And that can be like our deep yogic breath that we're going to keep going with as we work through this little visualization, okay? So what I want you to do is, in your mind's eye, so draw your attention, so your eyes are still closed, but you're kind of drawing your attention to the screen of your mind just above the eyebrows. And what I want you to visualize is a whiteboard. So you may have them, like you would have in an office or a school or a whiteboard, okay? And it's completely clean and clear. And visualize yourself picking up a fresh marker, not a permanent marker, one of those dry white markers. And I want you to start to either draw or write things onto that board that are stressors in your life at the moment. Now, like I said, they don't have to be fertility related. They can be work related. They can be anything that's causing you stress. Write it all down or draw it all out. Visualize this complete mind dump onto this whiteboard. I'll give you a minute or so to get that all out. Remember, you're sort of engaging with your mind here. Often in yoga, we try not to engage with the thoughts, but for the next minute or so, you're going to engage with it and you're going to get it all out onto that board. As you're doing that, if you kind of wander away from the visualization, just draw yourself back to that breath, moving in and out. Okay, and see the board begin to fill up and fill up and fill up. Could be like a little speech bubble of something that someone said to you that's causing you pain or stress. Okay. Then you're going to visualize that you've got a what are they called? A eraser? Is that what it's called? Completely fresh out the packet, so clean, it's going to do a good job. And then you're going to, in your mind's eye, begin to wipe that board clean and take your time with this. Really focusing on the cleanliness of the board and the sense of peace it brings as you clear those stressors away. And it's not to say they're getting cleared out of your life. You're just clearing them for your yoga practice so that you can focus completely on you and your body and what it needs. So keep going and just get it completely pure and clean and white. Okay? And then once you've done that, open your eyes very slowly and make your way as slowly and carefully as you can to a seated position with your leg, I better move my cup of tea, with your legs quite wide. Okay, and just begin to do that slowly because you've been lying, breathing with your eyes closed for quite a while, and that's fine. But now we need our eyes open so that we don't hurt ourselves as we move through the physical part of the practice. Okay, so we're coming into a wide-legged position to do our Shakti Bandha, to do our freeing of feminine energy. Okay, I'm just going to read our mantra for the practice again, which was, I release worries and strains that put pressure on my mind and body. Okay, so we've done that little visualization. We've brought ourselves into the present. So now we're moving through the practice as if it's a moving meditation. So we're still in this meditative state. But what's really good about beginning to move is it gives you another distraction to clear your mind, okay? So this first one, Shakti Bandha, freeing of feminine energy, legs nice and wide, toes towards the ceiling, hands coming out. If you've been coming to these classes for a while, you know we do this posture a lot and all the time, but it's just because it's so good for you, okay? So we want to lift, from the pelvis, lift through the spine, relax your shoulders. It's like stirring a big big cauldron of porridge, okay? A big pot of porridge, okay? So we're imagining we're clasping a big wooden spoon and we begin to stir the porridge. And as we do, we lean into it. So we draw back and then we lean forward and their hands make a big circle. But more importantly, our hips are making a circle, okay? So we're lifting and... Oh, I got cramp in my leg. This is what I get for doing too much in the garden today. Inhale back, exhale forward, and keep going like that. Tie in with your breath so that we have an inhale back, exhale forward. Really need to bend my leg there. Don't you bend your leg. I'm just doing it because I've got a little bit of cramp going on in my hips. Okay, let's pause. Clasp our hands a different way. So where your thumb was before and your hands were clasped, do it the other way so that the other thumb's at the front. And then begin to go the other direction with your circles. Inhale back, exhale forward. Have a sense of really focusing on how that feels into the pelvis. Okay, and then we'll just come in nice and gentle into a static position again, crossing our legs into Sukhasana position, okay? So into easy pose, rooting down through the sit bones, lifting and lengthening through the spine. A nice side stretch either side just to warm up through the spine. So place your left hand on the floor, lift your right hand up and over, reach it over, root down through both sit bones. So we don't want to be lifting away up and over with the right one. We just want to really root down, but stretching over. Lifting up and over. Over to the other side. Into center, we'll just do a nice gentle twist just to lubricate through the spine, nothing too tight here, suitable for all parts of the cycle, okay? So just rest your right arm to the inside of your right knee, left hand on the floor behind, lift and lengthen, gentle push against that right knee with the right arm and gaze behind. So we're doing this with a lovely lengthened spine and we're just gazing over the left shoulder. Opening up with the spine, beautiful openness with the front of the body. Focus on the breath. Deep cleansing breaths in and out through the nose. Let's go over to the other side now. Okay, and into center, and then let's stand, okay? So let's work through our standing postures, all right? So I want to start with a squat position, but one that moves like a moving Malasana goddess squat, okay? So this is nice because it gets the blood flowing and it's also just very, very feminine, okay? So we're going to add what's called a mudra, a hand gesture, called lotus. So I'm just going to come a little closer to show you. We bring our pinkies, our small fingers together on our thumb, and then we kind of splay the rest of them. So we're going to bring our hands like that, and then we're going to lift up in our squat to the top, and then as we come down, we bring the backs of the hands together as we go down, and then we return back, okay? I'm just going to turn, I've got a heater on. I always need to take the chill off at first, but I'm turning it off now. Right, so squats are just lovely for opening up into the groin and getting blood flow moving, which is, you know, what we're all about in fertility yoga, okay? So our feet are wider than hip width and they're 45-degree angle, okay? Bring your hands into that beautiful lotus flower shape. Then we take a big inhale, lift our hands above the head, turn your backs of the hands together, exhale, down into your squat, only come as low as feels good, then inhale up again, okay? Slow and mindful, rooting down through the heels as well. Ideally, we don't want the heels to lift. One more. And we'll just stay upright, okay? So now we're going to bring our feet into hip width. We'll move into our first chair pose. I love a chair in fertility yoga. It is just really, really strengthening, really, really grounding. If thoughts are swirling, this is a great position to go into. Also, it encourages blood flow from our big skeletal muscles into our pelvis, right? So lots of different variations. So we're just going to do a nice simple version first, okay? So we're just going to bring our hands over our heart space, root down through the feet, and we simply bend the knees as if we're coming into a chair, okay? So I've got my hands slightly away from my chest, but only because of my microphone. If my microphone wasn't there, I would have my hands sort of on the heart space. Real symbolic gesture of the hands being over the heart, okay? So we're breathing into the heart, we're rooting down through the feet, we're letting all that lovely blood flow build up in the thighs. And then we're going to lift up, okay? Straightening up, okay? We're going to come down again and do the same thing, okay? But if you're in the first half of the cycle, adding a little twist can be really nice, okay? So if you're not, and you're in the second half of the cycle, just do exactly what we just did, okay? If you're menstruating, this could feel too much for you, and that's fine. Just give it a miss, okay? Inhale. Exhale down. Keeping those knees directly below the hips, okay? If we're adding the twist, we take the left elbow onto the right knee. You can either keep your hands in a prayer position here, or you can lift the right hand up towards the ceiling, adding in quite a tight twist across the torso. Come back into center and go your twist. On the other side, you can lift that hand away if you want, or you can keep the hands in prayer position. Okay, and we'll come up and out of our chair. Okay, we're going to fold forward now into standing forward fold. So we've not done that yet tonight, so we'll just keep it really gentle at first, okay? So we'll root down through the feet just as they are, hip width apart, okay? You can maybe just really focus on the feet, lift your toes, spread them out. Okay, we're going to start to tilt forward from the pelvis. Invite a softness into the knees for now, and just fold your arms for now. Okay, we're just warming up. Take the head and drop it down. Crown of the head leading towards the floor. Okay, but we'll keep the arms folded, and we'll just begin to breathe into the backs of the legs. You can even sway from side to side if you want here. Taking the hips side to side. Really calming for the mind. These forward folds, if your mind begins to wander, just draw your attention back to the breath and make sure you're breathing really deeply and forward fold. Okay, uncurl up. Back to standing. Okay, we're going to come forward again, but perhaps we may let our arms out of that fold and take them towards the floor, okay? Now note that I say towards the floor. It's really not about hands touching your toes. If you really suffer from really tightness down the back of your legs, then that's fine, but you're still doing really good work by folding over. We're releasing lots of ligaments that lead into the pelvis, okay? So let's root down again. Let's lift up with the breath. Inhale, exhale, folding forward from the pelvis. So we're looking to sort of melt the torso towards the thighs, release the hands down, but release the head and the neck. So we don't want tension, we don't want to be gazing forward, we want to be gazing in between our legs, okay? Breathe. Okay, uncuddle all the way up. Okay, so now we're going to move into a warrior position. Okay, really root and ground down. I'm just moving a little bit towards the top of the mat, just so that we can step back, all right, and have the mat behind us, all right. So let's just make sure feet are rooted, hips forward and heart forward, right? And this is where they're going to stay, okay? So we're not turning the pelvis at all, okay? Then we're going to take a step back with the right foot, okay? So take the step back with the right foot, but still having the feet in parallel to each other. So that right foot has stayed in the same kind of straight line as you've stepped back, okay? But then you can turn it and place it like 45 degrees approximately, okay? Bending into the left knee, really root down through the feet. So before we do anything else, we want to feel rooted, grounded and secure, okay? Then we're going to lift and lengthen through the body, keep the chest nice and open, and then we can lift up with the hand. And if we want, we can take our gaze up to follow the hands. And our hands, I know you can't see what our hands are doing, but mine's are just at shoulder width here, but you can also place them together, okay? Whatever feels good. Breathing really deeply. How does that feel in the body? Really tune into the breath. Tune into the sensations of the body. Tune into how this posture makes you feel. And say to yourself, I am strong. Okay, drop the hands. Just lift the back heel so that we can get a little bounce into the back leg and step yourself up to the top of your mat. Left leg back into our warrior one on the other side, okay? So let's root down with the feet. We play around with your feet. If you didn't get that right there with how far apart your feet were, then try again. Maybe your front foot feels too far away and you can't get your front knee above the ankle. Just drop back a little, okay? Root down. Inhale, lift. Beautiful open heart when you're in this warrior position. And then repeating again, I am strong. Okay, drop the hands down, step forward. Okay, and then drop down onto one knee, then the other, and come into a tabletop position. So bring your hands shoulder width, hands directly under the shoulders, knees below the hips, top of the feet on the mat. We're going to do a happy child sequence, it's called. So we come from table, then we dip down with the navel as if you're coming into like a cat. This is a cow position. Dip down with the navel, tilt the pelvis, gaze up. Exhale, curl up, so into your cat position. So draw the navel up this time.
Then come down into child's pose. So drop the bum towards the heels, hands away out in front. Then inhale, lift, high knees. So you're coming onto the knees, lifting up, hands coming up towards the ceiling, gazing up. Exhale, back down to table, but we're taking it really slow like that, okay? So we're going to repeat that several times. I don't want you to rush it. This practice tonight is slow for a reason, because this is how we're really helping to release these strains and worries, and we're really focused on stress reduction, okay? So let's repeat that again. Inhale, dip the navel, tilt the pelvis, gaze up, open up your heart space. Exhale, curl up. Chin comes towards your chest. Then draw down with the sit bones towards the heels, hands out in front, forehead towards the floor. Maybe you can get your forehead all the way onto the floor. Inhale, lift up, high knees, swooping the hands above the head. Beautiful lift of the body and stretch of the spine. Exhale, table position. Keep going. You can remember, okay? I don't want to talk over all of the practice, because I want you to have time to just listen to your breath and just your breath. I'm going to do one more round after this, okay? So I'm doing my high knee stand, then I'm exhaling down to all fours, okay? Then I'll do one more round, all right? So wherever you are, finish off the one you're on and then do one more. Inhale, dip down with the navel, turn that pelvis, gaze up. Exhale, curl up into child's pose. Inhale and exhale in child's pose. Then on the next inhale, high knee, lifting up. Exhale, table. That's us done our little happy child sequence. So it is really slow and just so restorative, isn't it? So I want to also just do a little threading of the needle, okay? So this is really good for releasing any tension in your shoulders and into your spine, okay? Really good for stress relief as well, okay? So table pose starts us off. Then we take the right hand and we lift it off the mat, but thread it underneath the left arm, okay? And take your right shoulder, if you can, onto the floor. And rest the right side of the head on the floor. Then with the left hand, reach it forward towards the bottom of the mat. Okay, and then what to just check for is that the hips haven't swayed away over to the left hand side, like as if they want to follow the right hand. Square them up and breathe. let's come back in to a central position, table pose, thread the needle on the other side. Okay, back into center. Okay, so now just want to do a nice downward facing dog. The only time I would say no down dog is if you're menstruating, okay? So we'll just leave a down dog if you're on your period just now. Instead, just sink down and rest in child's pose, okay? Tuck your toes under here, spread your fingers, middle finger at 12 o'clock. Tuck your toes under and push into the toes, lift up with the knees and take your weight away from the wrists. Your feet are probably a little marginally too close to your hands if you come up from table pose. So just a little step back, okay? So now the fingers are spread and you want to take the weight away from the wrists, okay? So we're pushing back towards the feet with the chest, okay? Relax your shoulders. Breathe deeply here. Okay, drop down onto your knees. Quickly just check everyone's okay. We're good. Okay, so what's next? A prone position, okay? So we're going to come into locust position. So I would say if you're stimulating on stims, definitely not too much into the belly. If you're on the 2-week weight, definitely not, okay? And if you're menstruating, definitely not, okay? So as an alternative for you guys, if you're in those categories, nice, simple cat cuddles, okay? So just that simple dipping down with the navel, opening the chest, gazing up, and then curling up, okay? On the exhale into the cat. Otherwise, if you want to come into the prone position, let me just move these bolsters out the way. We're just going to lower down so that we come onto our tummies, okay? Bring your hands, first of all, just place them on top of each other and bring your forehead onto your hands. I find it really hard to demonstrate this with my microphone clipped to the front, okay? So I'm just lifting up slightly, but if you just rest there just now and really focus on lengthening the spine first, okay? We're going to be lifting up with the torso and the legs, but I just want you to create a lovely length through the spine. So just focus on each side. So tuck the toes under of one side, sort of lift the leg and then point the toe towards the bottom of the mat. Make sure your hips are parallel, okay? Right, so now we're going to take our hands from underneath our foreheads and we're just going to swim them behind, okay? So bring them so that they're down the side of the body. Try and watch this microphone here, okay? So from your forehead being on the floor, I want you then to just lift it and gaze forward, and then you'll feel your shoulders lift, okay? And you can either lift the hands towards the ceiling here, or you can clasp the hands at the base of the spine and sort of push them away. And we want to lift the legs as well, so the sole of the feet lifting up towards the ceiling. Okay, very stimulating, as you can feel. There's not a massive range of movement, but we're really pushing onto the womb space, and we're just getting a lot of blood stimulation going there. Try and relax your shoulders as well.
release that. And then we're going to bring the hands under the shoulders. And we're going to lift all the way up and over into child's pose. And if you've been doing your cat cuddles, then come down to child's pose as well. Everyone just have 5 breaths, please, in child's pose, okay? While I have a little sip of water. Okay, I don't know if that's 5 breaths because I've not been doing it with you, I'm guessing. Okay, let's come up, right? So you're walking back from your child's pose and we're coming up to high knees. We're going to do a camel, okay? So quite another back bend, quite strong into the lower back. But this one's suitable for all stages, okay? Which is good because you miss out on the prone postures, but you can still work your back in a nice camel. But you can do it in different sort of stages of, like, what's the word? Not severity, that sounds awful when you talk about yoga. I don't even know, I've lost my train of thought there. Different levels of difficulty, maybe, is that the word I'm looking for? Okay, so knees underneath the hips. So find your little hip bone and then have your knees directly under, okay? Tops of the feet can either be on the mat, or you might want to invite a little stretching of the sole. We know we do this one a lot, don't we, where we tuck the toes under. Somebody's asking a question. Yeah, so I just mean 2-week wait of IVF and natural, so you wouldn't do prone positions if you were in the 2-week wait. We don't need to panic, you're not going to do any harm. I would just say it's more suited the first half of the cycle where we're trying to stimulate the ovaries, really. So yeah, no prone positions in the second half of the cycle, okay? Right, so camel position. Okay, so bring your hands onto the small of your back. Either decide, do you like having your toes tucked under, or do you want to have them on the tops of the feet on the mat? Okay, so now we're going to start to drive down through the knees. We're going to keep the thighs strong, okay? We're going to keep them really strong. We're going to sort of engage the glutes, and we're going to bring the pelvis forward using the hands to push in, okay? Draw the elbows towards each other. That helps to open through the chest. Okay, now depending on flexibility level, you might want to go a little deeper and bring the hands onto the heels, okay? You might be able to bicycle them back over the head and bring them onto the heels, okay? But that's quite strong, isn't it? And it's not for everybody, okay? But I'm just giving it as an option in case you want to go deeper. We're really breathing into the heart space here. Okay. Then we're going to lift up and we're going to come down into child's pose again. So if your toes are tucked under, just release them and come down into child's pose. Just for a few breaths, because we need that child's pose just to release that very strong stretch into the small of the back. Okay, let's come up and come into seated position, okay? We're going to do a few forward folds here, okay? So I'm just going to quickly grab a yoga strap just to show you. I've got it right in front of me, but I'm just going behind the computer to get one. So a yoga strap's just like a belt, okay? And I'm just bringing it to show you that if you do struggle with forward folds from just because you get tightness in the hamstrings, using a wee yoga strap. So this is just like a belt, but around the house you've got things you can use that do exactly the same job. A tie, can be one, a belt, like literally a belt like this, or a tea towel. So if you've got like, everybody's got a tea towel, take it lengthwise and roll it up. So you've got a kind of rope type thing, okay? So I'm just going to take this because sometimes it feels quite nice to use one. You don't have to at all, okay? So forward folds. If we are talking about, our whole theme of the class is I release worries and strains that put pressure on my mind and body. Forward folds are just, they have to be in a class plan if you're focusing on that, in my opinion, because they're just so calming for the mind, and all the blood flow starts to move towards the head and forward folds. So we've already done some standing forward folds, so we're going to do them from seated. So like I always say when I teach forward folds, if you do struggle with the hamstrings and you struggle folding from the hips without collapsing, if you know what I mean, so like collapsing into the pelvis, which then makes for too much bend in the spine, and then heart center closes, shoulders hunch, all connected. Bring in a little cushion underneath the sit bones, right? You can just perch on the end, and it really helps to prevent all that happening, okay? So we're going to start off with just very basic Paschimottanasana, seated forward fold. So we're going to zip our legs up together, unless you're feeling really bloated with menstruation or stimulation drugs. If that's the case, just take your feet a little wider and make a little pocket in between your thighs. It just eases up that, okay? Right, so I'll show you with the prop and then I'll show you without. So we're bringing it around the balls of the feet if you were using something like that, and you just wrap your hands round so that you have a kind of bind to pull against. It can be really nice. You don't have to use one though, okay? So if I wasn't using one, I would lift my hands above my head, relax the shoulders, lift up with the hips, and then fold from the hips and reach forward with the hands. And don't focus on where you're going with the hands, okay? Don't worry too much about that. Really focus on folding from the hips, keeping your shoulders relaxed, not curving too much through the spine, and just gazing at your legs, okay? So just gazing down so that we start to get that sense of calmness going to the mind. Breathing deeply. Nice, deep, calming breaths. Okay, let's fold back up again. Stay pretty much exactly as we are, but we'll do head to knee pose. So this is where we bend our right leg, okay? Take the right foot up the left thigh. Okay, you can't really see mine there, can't you? Maybe I should turn so that you can see. So left leg's nice and straight, right leg's as far up as you can, right knee just coming towards the floor. If you had your little strap or prop, you can use it like this. Okay, if not, let's do what we did before. Inhale, lift, lengthen, relax your shoulders, fold forward. And breathe deeply. Okay, coming up over to the other side. Okay, switching over, lifting and lengthening, folding forward. lifting up. Let's go wide with our legs, wide leg forward fold. So you can't really use a prop for this one, you're kind of on your own in this one, unless we go side to side. So we are going to go side to side, but we're going to go centrally first. But again, don't panic about how far your hands are reaching. Instead, take all your focus into this lovely tilt of the pelvis, this beautiful open heart space you've got, and a nice straight spine, okay? That's all we're looking for, okay? So legs nice and wide, toes nice and active towards the ceiling, okay? Lift and lengthen, hands above the head. Then start to melt forward. Just folding forward. This is an ouchy one for the inside of the thighs, isn't it? But it's so good for getting that lovely blood flow going in the groin and then into the womb. So we're really focusing on less postures, more time in them tonight. Sometimes we take the pace slightly different, but it's just really nice to go really slow and just sit within the postures really deep. Okay, let's lift up, but just keep ourselves our legs as they are, and then we're going to sort of walk over to the left foot or towards the left foot. Don't worry if you can't get there. Okay, over to the other side, walking ourselves over. So really try not to focus on, like, if you aren't very flexible, then that's totally fine. You know, I am not the most flexible person in the world, but yoga really isn't about that, okay? It's about so much more than that. Right, into center. We're going to walk ourselves up, and then we're just going to bend our knees into Baddha Konasanas, okay? So another really good one into the hips, okay? So soles of the feet together, or together-ish, feet together anyway. Hands either making a basket with them or just resting over your ankles. Lifting and lengthening, relaxing the shoulders, chest open. Breathing deeply. And as you do, ask your knees to start moving a little closer towards the floor. Again, everyone is different with this. Everyone has different levels of flexibility in terms of how close their knees get to the floor. It's not about that. It's about you focusing on the sensations in your body, focusing on opening your chest. Focus on the breath, moving up and down the body, nourishing your chakras as you go. Okay, guys, so we're going to release. We're going to lift our knees up and take our legs out. And you're literally just going to give your legs a little wobble. You're getting ready for Shavasana now, which is your final relaxation. Give your ankles a little circle as well. So we did less postures tonight than perhaps we normally would, but the length of the class is the same. So we have went quite deep into a much more restorative style of yoga. Perhaps not we could maybe actually play around in weeks to come with using a lot more cushions and things to make it extra restorative, but I just wanted to take things really slow to try and link into that theme of releasing worries and strains, okay? So now it's time for final relaxation. So get yourself lying on your back in corpse pose, okay? Hands uppermost, arms slightly away from the body, Legs aren't zipped up together, they're slightly apart. Heels are apart, toes just flopping out to the side. So I'll give you a couple of minutes to get yourself sorted. Let you get sorted. Okay. So I want you to remember all those tricks that we've used through our moving meditation for helping to keep the mind as clear as possible. Okay, so obviously thoughts will creep in, and that's fine, it's normal. But what you're going to do, because you're not moving anymore, that monkey chatter might start again, and that's fine, but use the breath again. Okay, so really focus into the sensations of the body as it's lying here on the floor. Focus into directing the breath to certain parts of the body. Focus into the sound of the breath in the body. Okay, the mind will wander, but that's fine. So we'll guide you into a nice state of relaxation. We'll just do a body scan, which is another really good tool for helping with that. Okay. All right. So allow the eyes to close and do a few falling out breaths, they're called, to start with. So these are nice exhales through the mouth, actually. So we've been breathing in and out through the nose for the whole practice, but excuse me, I'm yawning. Oh my goodness. So we're going to breathe out through the mouth, just a nice inhale, and then through the mouth. That can really just help to release any last kind of lingering things, any last strains or pressures or tensions. Just breathe them away with those nice, soft, falling out breaths. And then after you've done like 3 of them, have a good yawn. It really helps to just release the jaw. So a nice big yawn. And then, if it even helps as well, bring the hands onto the face and just give yourself a little massage into the jaw. So find the hinge of the jaw and just massage there into the hollows of the cheeks. Releasing there. Bring your first 2 fingers onto your temples and give them a little rub. Bring the fingers above the eyebrows, like so. The 4 fingers are splayed out, and then just run your hands up to the forehead, just to release. Okay. So now the jaw can slacken. Just bring your hand onto your forehead and just smooth out all those little worry lines. And then bring the hands back down to the side of the body. Okay, focus now on your breath. Nice inhales and exhales through the nose. Focus on the inhale, and with every inhale, I want you to visualize yourself drawing a beautiful white light into your body. And you can send that light to wherever in your body you feel needs it. It is a healing light, a beautiful, pure, healing light and energy. Draw it into your body now and and send it to wherever needs it. And then as you exhale out the light, but you notice that it's not quite as bright and luminescent as it was when it came in, and that's fine. It's because you've kept all that healing energy in your body. And you can use your exhales to release things that are not serving you well. Reminding ourselves of our mantra for the practice. I release worries and strains that put pressure on my mind and my body. Continue to draw in beautiful, pure white, healing light, and exhaling anything that you feel needs released. And that is your only focus. And as you do that, notice the body beginning to respond to this healing light. And you notice that the body is beginning to feel so heavy and so relaxed. So heavy. So relaxed. And it almost feels like it's melting down into the floor. Head feels heavy. The arms and legs feel heavy. The torso feels heavy and relaxed. The eyes are closed so deeply. Fingers and toes are relaxed. The heart center is open and relaxed. The upper abdomen is relaxed. Draw attention to your womb space now and spend several breaths breathing that white light and energy into the womb space. Feel that white light washing round your womb space, washing around your ovaries, filling it with positive, healing light and energy. I'm just going to read you a little passage called The Womb Speaks. The womb speaks. I am nurturer, the one who nourishes all. I am fertile. I am cycle and the circle of life. I have no beginning. I have no end. I am vast space, the infinite spaciousness of divine consciousness. I am sacred waters, the ever-flowing waters of the ocean of creation. I am home, your first house. It is my wish that you remember you can return to me always for rest and comfort, peace and protection. I am power beyond measure, of source, not force. Okay, ladies, I'm going to leave you now, but I'll leave the music running for a while because you need time now to sort of spend the last moments of relaxation. You may need longer to release tension. You may need longer to release any of those worries and strains. And if you are moving yourself out of relaxation, make sure you do it slowly, mindfully, with no sense of rush. And before you do, make sure you give yourself thanks for giving yourself this time, because you are special and you deserve this time, okay? So I am bowing to you now, sending you all out lots and lots of love, okay? And I will see you next week. I think we've got one more week of this block. I believe so anyway. So lots of love and